What's up, marketers? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dara and I am the Director of Performance Creative at the agency Thesis/Barrington Media Group. And if you've been following me here for a while, you're gonna know that that's a new title, and B, a slightly new agency. More information on that in a few videos. But today's video is going to be all about the Power5 and if it is still relevant in a post iOS 14 world. So for years, Facebook/Meta has pushed this idea of the Power5 as their best practices approach to running your Facebook ads. And something that I've been asked a lot recently by clients and by you guys is if these are actually still the best practices in 2022. The reality is that Facebook ads has changed a lot in the last few years. In fact, I've changed a lot about my own approach to running Facebook ads since this video was published about the Power5 about a year and a half ago, which was in August 2020. So is the Power5 still relevant? Yes. And I would also argue in some places no. So in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly what the Power5 is, which parts of it are relevant and which that aren't, and how my own approach to Facebook ads advertising has changed. So first up, what is the Power5? The Power5 is Facebook's set of best practices for Facebook ads, with the idea being that if you did all of these 5 things under the eyes of the Facebook Meta Corporation, then you were doing things right. And these 5 practices were, number 1, CBO, or campaign budget optimization. And essentially what CBO allows you to do is set your budget at the campaign level as opposed to the ad set level, which is ABO. This allows Facebook to more freely distribute your budget amongst ad sets. I've also heard Facebook and other media buyers say that it was a little turbo boost of machine learning, but jury's out on that one. The second part of the Power5 is automatic advanced matching, which is kind of like a turbo boost signal for your pixel, and it's as easy as going to your events manager and simply turning on the button. And then there's automatic placements, which allows Facebook to decide which placements they're actually going to be placing your ad, like the difference between Instagram and Facebook and Audience Network and Instagram Reels and all the different other types of placements that your ad could be shown on. And then there's account consolidation, which essentially means not using as many ad sets or campaigns. And then there's dynamic ads. And essentially what dynamic ads are is it allows you to take 10 different videos or images and combine it with 5 different primary text, 5 different headlines, 5 different descriptions, and even different types of CTAs. And it allows the Facebook machine algorithm to determine the best types of combinations to show your users. So again, all 5 of these things are packaged under the Power5. And spoiler alert, I do not use all of these things today in a post iOS 14 world in 2022. However, a lot of the top media buyers still subscribe fully to the Power5. I even launched a little poll today on Twitter to ask what other media buyers thought. And overwhelmingly, for the most part, people still believe in this idea of the Power5, and some people even do all 5 of them. I'd say that I do like 3.5. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So what has changed? Which parts of the Power5 am I still using post iOS 14? Let's dive into each of these bullet points one by one. So the first one is CBO, or campaign budget optimization. And I will say that I use this less and less in a post iOS 14 world. However, with that said, many of the top media buyers and even many of the media buyers that I collaborate with at Thesis still use CBO across all of their campaigns. I truly look at this more of a media buyer decision, but for me, I prefer to use ad set budgeting primarily in creative testing campaigns and even my prospecting core campaigns, because it allows me to more freely distribute the budget when I see things are performing or when they're not performing. In fact, on some of my accounts, I don't even use CBO, but if I am using it, I'm primarily using it in retargeting. But again, this I see as a media buyer choice. It really just depends on how you like to manage your campaigns. And I know that with CBO, you can add ad set limits, like maximum and minimums for budget. But I just prefer to do it at the ad set level, to be honest. This like budget distribution, I don't like having to go inside to the ad set. I mean, it just is like a personal preference thing. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, next up, we have automatic advanced matching. And yes, this is just such a really easy thing to do. You should really be doing this in all of your accounts. However, using your pixel and using automatic advanced matching is truly not enough in a post iOS 14 world. I highly recommend setting up CAPI, which is the server-to-server integration that Facebook has now launched. And there's a really easy way to do it on Shopify, but if you have the dev resources or the budget, I highly recommend you guys set up a custom dev integration. I've just seen that I'm able to get a lot more data if I'm having more of a custom integration instead of the like Shopify automatic connect one. And in addition to doing CAPI, we're also setting up offline conversions for a lot of our clients at Thesis, which we've done with a Zapier hookup or connect. I'm going to be really honest. I generally let some of the more technical people at Thesis do the CAPI integrations and do the offline conversions, because I'm a creative. It's just not my game. But I highly recommend doing it. And if you guys are just as confused as I am, then hire someone to do it. It is definitely worth it. And next up is automatic placements. And yes, for the most part, I still use automatic placements across the board. But I will say that one of the things that I am always looking at in my accounts is I'm looking at the breakdown section and looking at the placement distribution, particularly for spend, because we can't see what types of purchases are actually coming through those post iOS 14. But I really do like to have the knowledge of where Facebook is primarily pushing my ads to be placed on. Now, I will say that some of the trends that I've seen other media buyers talk about is doing Reels only ad sets or doing Reels only campaigns. And this is something that I've experimented with. In some cases it's worked really well, in other cases it hasn't. But what I would suggest you guys doing is, if you're launching your ads and you're looking at that breakdown and distribution of spend, if you do see higher spend being geared towards Instagram stories and Reels, I would definitely try out doing a Reels or Instagram stories only type of ad set. That's the case where I would really see it be worth it. However, outside of this scenario, I would still almost always recommend using automatic placements. I really don't deviate from that much at all. And next up is account consolidation. And yes, this is definitely still something that I recommend you guys doing. Interestingly enough, I was recently on a call with a Facebook ads rep, and they said that this consolidated approach is actually one of the most important things post iOS 14. So yes, we still want to have a limited number of campaigns and ad sets, which means, really looking into using more of that broad targeting, as well as, stacking your interests and stacking your lookalikes. I have 2 videos that are all about those 2 subjects in particular. So if you want to dive into more of the thought behind that and the methodology, be sure to take a look at both of those videos. And another note about account consolidation, this is something that I truly practice, even with accounts that are spending $500K per month on their Facebook ads. The account structure looks incredibly similar to this last video that I did that was all about my structure post iOS 14. Many times they only have 3 campaigns. So don't complicate your structure and really try to focus more on testing creatives, because that really is the biggest lever that you have in these ad accounts post iOS 14. And last and perhaps least is dynamic ads. I do not use this. Every once in a while, I will test this in my creative testing campaign, and I've even tested it a few times in my core prospecting campaigns. But to be honest, I just really haven't seen this be as effective recently. It is, and it's really hard to decipher which parts of the ad asset are actually working. So which videos or images are getting the most purchases, which primary text is getting the most purchases. If you guys are interested in learning more about my creative testing approach, which is really the big reason why I'm not using dynamic ads, then be sure to take a look at this video here where it does a huge deep dive on the exact way that we test creatives at Thesis. I think part of the reason why I've been asked this question is because Facebook no longer really talks about the Power 5 the way that they used to, and even some top media buyers that I'm connected with don't really have this Power 5 terminology in their toolkit. I think that it's really the terminology that has been more or less phased out as opposed to the best practices. And like I said, there are a few things about my approach that has changed. I definitely say one of the bigger things that's changed for me is number one, the account setup and consolidation. And like I said earlier, I have a video that's all about my account setup and consolidation post iOS14 and a few other videos that go into different ways to consolidate your campaign. So be sure to check all of those out. I'll also have them in the description bar below. And I think what's really missing from this Power 5 discussion is about creative testing and about the focus on creative and about testing out different strategies and having that be your core focus. I have always felt that when talking about the Power 5, it was mostly about technical setup, which is very important, but it left out really the biggest lever that we have on the platforms, which is to test out as many different types of creative strategies and formats as you can, because that's really where you're going to be able to find success with this platform. That and also landing pages. It's another big focus of ours at Thesis. In fact, Thesis got started off as a CRO landing page agency. So if you're not thinking a lot about creative and about your landing pages, this is your cue to do a lot more research in those two verticals. And that's it. I've really enjoyed making this video for you guys. And like I teased at the beginning of the video, I did get a new role within Thesis, and we were recently acquired by Barrington Media Group, which means that there's going to be a lot of changes going on for me at work, which I'm very excited about. And I wanted to also thank you guys so much. We recently got to 15K subscribers. I'm really, really excited about that because this is really the year that I want to invest in and grow this channel a lot. So I had said that when I got to 15, I would do another day in the life of or week in the life of style video. So you guys can expect that within the coming weeks. All right. Thanks. See you guys in a few days. Bye.